Hey guys, it's Sean here, back with another video. I've tried to set this up as best as I can. I've been here for ages trying to do this. So I know it's not a very close view of all of this, but just go over a few things what we're going to do today. So as you know, I did the software update yesterday, and we went over all the sort of interior functions, and we worked out that most of it was adaptive cruise control was what's actually going on there. So what I thought I would do is take us out. We'll find a couple of roads, suitable roads, where we can use the adaptive cruise control, and we're going to see how it works. Depending on the situation, I'm hoping to be able to see what happens if you leave your hands off the steering wheel. So in other words, it thinks you've either got a medical problem or something along them, something of that nature. So basically what I'm trying to do here by doing this video is just to see what the behavior is there, because obviously what you would want in an emergency situation is for the car to bring you to a safe stop with the hazards on. That's fine, but I'm hoping that it's going to bring you over to the hard shoulder at least. Now, of course, I understand we've got smart motorways in this country, so even there it might not be totally safe, but what I'm really not happy is that you were say to be in the middle or fast lane and it just brings you like that, because it's still kind of a bit of a worry, that really, isn't it, to be fair. But anyway, we want to see what the behavior of the car is in those circumstances, really. So that's what we're really kind of like looking for. And then also to just have a general feel of just what's going on with the adaptive cruise control. How smooth is it? How linear is it? How does it build up when you don't have a car in front of you? What you don't really want the car to do is for you to say you're driving along at 40 miles an hour and it's a 60 mile an hour zone. What you don't really want it to do is for you to put it onto 60 and it just shoot there, because there's nothing in front of you, so it's got no distance to be able to guide it to. You want it to progress linearly, like it does on the Skoda Enyaq. It builds up in a linear way, so a more natural way. What you don't want it to do is to just shoot up to that speed. And there's a lot of reasons for that, because a car could come out from a side road, etc., 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 you know. So adaptive cruise control level 2 is a very low level autonomous driving, if you like, if you want to use that word. So it's not designed to be full self-driving, of course, we all know this. It's just meant to help you really on motorways and very good A roads that are, you know, straight and, you know, with 2 or 3 lanes or more, and that type of thing. Just there to keep you in lane and also to actually keep you a safe distance from the vehicle in front, but at the same time keeping up with the speed of traffic. That's the whole idea and design of adaptive cruise controls, really, in my book. Some work really well, some don't. You come up to even just a very slight bend on the motorway and it's already asking you to take over and various things like this, because there's not enough radars on there, or it's just not intelligent enough. That's why we call it intelligent adaptive cruise control very often. So you'll hear that word a lot. So obviously the more cameras, the more radars, the more lidars that's on a car, the more it can see, the more it's going to obviously perform better. And this car was never designed to be particularly brilliant in that area, in my opinion. You know, I don't see anything that sort of corresponds with it should be that way. So from that point of view, I'm not expecting huge amounts from it. But what I want to see is, does it just do things in a much more progressive, linear, steady way, or does it still jerk to get to the speed if there's nothing in front of you, etc., etc., etc.? Or if a car, let's say for instance you're going along at 70 miles an hour and you drop down to, say, because the car in front of you is doing 60 and then he overtakes, do you then progress so quickly up behind the other car that you don't feel comfortable with it, it's a bit dangerous? Or do you, as you would do if you was normally driving, just progressively come up behind the vehicle in front of you? Those kinds of things. So that's what we're really looking at for in this test from that point. And then also, how do the emergency functions work? Are we going to see the hazards coming on if I don't have my hands on the wheel for long, and all that kind of thing, you know? So that's the kind of areas that we're going to look at for sort of from that perspective. Okay, so we did do the test yesterday, as you can see here. We went over this yesterday. I put that video up, and thank you so much for your comments and stuff relating to this. Someone did mention that they can't seem to get these icons up. So if that person, if that's you, if you'd like to touch base with me and give me a bit more details about that, I'll try to see if I can help you with what's going on there, because you should be able to draw all of these up. I think if you click this one, it brings up the stuff that you don't have on the other one, as it were, really. So so yeah, or you can touch this one, of course, and that also brings up the things you don't have, and you can move these forward and backward as and when you need them, really, as we described yesterday in the video. So you should be able to do that. Not sure why one or two people that have messaged me can't do that. So message me privately or in the comments below and give me exactly what's going on there, and I'll see if I can help you with that one. Okay, so let's get on the road. So the next time you see the video on, it will be when we're at a road we're about to do the thing on. So what we're looking for is this area here. Okay, unfortunately I can't zoom in on this on this phone. It's not a proper camera, I'm afraid, but this is obviously your area for your cruise control. So if you've not used cruise control before, this is the area that you will be using. Okay, so it's basically pressing there. You can set your speed and everything. So if you're on a motorway, 70, or if you're on a dual carriageway, 60 or whatever, even on some decent A roads, if they're good enough, you can probably set it on there, maybe 50 or 60. And then obviously you've got your distance between yourself and the vehicle in front, how far away you want before the car comes to a stop. I tend to have mine on the furthest one away. I don't trust these systems very much. And then of course there's your lane centering. So that one will bring in your that will keep you in the lane. Yeah, okay, so it should be able to slightly, if you're going on slight bends, you should feel the steering wheel turn and straighten up. And if you're going around very sharp bends, it probably will ask you to take over. Yeah, because this, as I said before, this is a level 2 operation. Okay, so with level 2 you're not expecting huge things in that regard, if you know what I mean. Okay, so I think I've explained everything there as much as I can. So let's just go and have a look and see what the ACC is like. I've used it before in this car. Like I've said, it's not that I'm critical of it, because I'm not actually a big lover of these systems, if I'm really honest. I think if you're going to go down this road, it's either going to go all the whole hog towards full self-driving, which we all will eventually have, I'm sure, or, you know, this kind of like, I mean, if you're going on a long trip on a motorway, I don't actually do a lot of motorway driving, if I'm really honest. I don't like motorways much, but if I am on motorways, I tend to use it a little bit. I do use it on there, and it's okay. You know, it does what it says. But you know, really, these systems, until they become fully autonomous, you know. But let's just see if the improvements are there, because I know how this system operates in terms of it's very slow. It's very, nothing's flowing about it, and that's what you really want from these kind of systems, even at level 2. So when you're putting 70 miles an hour on there and you're doing 50, you want to feel it progress up to 70, not shoot up there within 2 or 3 seconds. It's like someone's floored it, you know, boom, and you shoot to get to the speed quickly, unless there's a vehicle in front of you, of course, where it's keeping distance, and that's different, which you're probably going to have most of the time, I guess. But I'm just giving or even when you're coming on to the motorway or the dual carriageway, whatever you're on, it's another one. There's also another thing about that. So we just have to see how it all works. So we don't know yet, but there's supposed to be changes to it. So let's see how good they actually are. Okay, guys. So the next time you see me, then I shall be heading onto the motorway. Right, okay, guys. Right, so we're actually, I wanted to go on to the one of the dual carriageways right near me. That's got terrible roadworks on it, which won't help us very much. And then also the M5 is absolutely gone. So I found the best decent A road, to be honest, to try and do this test here now. It's long enough for me to be able to make all the assessments we need to make. So we'll have a little look and see what we get here. And it's probably a little bit safer in terms of pulling over or whatever. So, so as I say, we'll be working off of this system here. Okay, all right. So let's get going first, and then we'll start engaging it, and we'll just see roughly what we get. You know, just see how we do. So it's going to be an experiment where this is my first time using it since the update. So I'm as new to this in terms of the update as you guys will be. I've been getting a lot of message that people haven't got the update yet. I wouldn't worry about that too much, because they do it in batches and they do it to the VIN numbers and everything, so it will come. Right, okay, so what we do now is we press here to engage it. So there we are. I don't know if you can catch it on the camera, but it's engaged on there now. Okay, we'll also get that involved, and then we can now set our speed like so, which is 50. It's 45, 50. So you're still getting quite a bit of drag. What I am noticing is a much better control of the steering wheel. The steering wheel feels really... I'm not touching the steering wheel, and yet look, it's doing quite well with keeping it lane centered. Keeping it centered in the lane, that's pretty good. Now we're getting some warning signs coming up now on here, telling me to touch the thing, which I've done. So that's that. I just want to see if I can further that, actually. I'm just trying to see if I can get that to work better. Right, okay, so that's furthest away. All right, so I've got my hands on the wheel. The cars are braking in front, so I'm expecting some... Yeah, I can sense that's pulling me away. That's not bad. Still wants to get up to speed very quickly, I would say that. But the steering feels better than it did before. I will say that about it. I like that. It's keeping me centered in the lane as well, which is really good. Right, so now we're going to do a little bit of a test in terms of... we're now just going to do a quick test in terms of how long. So it's about 10 seconds it starts letting you know there's an issue. That's the first thing. It says here, please hold steering wheel. Then it goes off, which is interesting. So it warned me to hold the steering wheel. I didn't touch the steering wheel, but it just came back onto the adaptive cruise control. So that's the first thing, which has seen a bit of a minor fail there. So it didn't do anything about slowing down or stopping or anything of that nature. But in terms of speed, I'm actually fairly happy with that, actually, as it goes. You know what, guys? I think it's a bit better. It is definitely a bit better, this. No two ways about it. What I'm going to do on the way back up this road, I'm going to see if... camera reported ahead. What I'm going to do on the way back up is see if it will actually... what will happen if it's without me touching it at all, and see what happens I would see what happens there. Now that just went off there, so that wasn't good. So want to go lurching to the right there instead of keeping me in lane. So I didn't like that very much. Shouldn't be doing that. Wanted to pull me over to the right where there was nothing right there. So that's a negative on it straight away. Right, so I'm not touching it at all. Let's just see how we go. In some areas, there's no white lines this side. That might be confusing it a little bit. Right, I'm going to hold the steering wheel for this one because I need to do around the roundabout and come back up. See what we get there that way. Okay, so we're coming to a roundabout now. So just apply, if you apply the brake, it will disconnect the adaptive cruise control so that you can obviously take over for that point, just in case you hadn't used an adaptive cruise control before and weren't sure. So that will kick in. Then you can come around the roundabout. So I'm still accelerating. No adaptive cruise controls on at the moment. Okay. So once we come around here, I should be able to connect it again by pressing this button up here. I don't know if you can see it, if it's coming up on the screen or not. So I should be able to click that up. That brings it back in. Okay, so we got 45 miles an hour. It still wants to really go. It's still got that real pull, like you wouldn't normally do in your own car, if you know what I mean. Whereas you would progressively, there was this blue car in front. I've got a blue car in front of me that I pulled out from the side. So we would obviously, although it held back for the car, it still wanted to, as soon as it became straightened up and pulled away, it wanted to, push to get up towards it. So it's still got that thing of wanting to get forward very quickly. So that's one thing I would say about that. But we're on. You get a little car here, plus you get the car that's in front of you, ahead of you. So that remains there. Right, I'm trying to see if I can get a good, decent bit of road with which I can actually take my hands off the wheel long enough to get this to actually work. Hoping this is going to be able to do it along here. Let me just bring that speed down a little bit so I've got time to judge it if I have to. Right, so hands not on the wheel, guys. We're going straight on. It's a little bit jerky. It's not too bad. Right, now I'm getting the warning sign now to take over, which it's not doing. Okay. Things I do for you guys, eh? I don't know what's going to happen here. Right, so that's going to head into the, that's heading into the edge there. So it seems to go on for quite a long time. That's the one thing I will say, but still no evidence of how it's going to actually act in terms of, how it's going to actually act in terms of keeping you in the lane. So we're coming up to a nice straight bit of road now, so let's have a little look and see how we get on with that. I'm having to hold the wheel a fair bit here, I will be honest. I'm not that confident with it going straight. Let's cut that down to 45, I think. Right, so let's have a little look and see what we get here. So I'll set it to 45, it's doing 45. I could set it to 50. Let's see how it goes around this slight bend. A bit late turning into it, but it's doing it. It's actually doing it okay. Right, we got the still doing it. From what I can see, it just seems to come up with put your hand on it, and then it seems to cut off, but still carry on with the cruise control. So that's my experience of it so far. So if you try to test this yourself, let me know if you get anything different to that. Okay, so let's have a little look at the overall. From what I can remember when I've used it before, the steering is definitely better. It's not quite as all over the place, but you still got to be very. It's not a system you can really relax on. I don't think this is the best of roads to trial it on, because obviously it's a single file sort of 50 mile an hour zone road really. So I don't know. It might be not the best from that point of view. But actually, when you've got the white lines there, it's actually keeping that. Now that's quite good. That's got into that bend really, really well. It hasn't surged into it, and it's kept me straight. And so yeah, so I can see improvements here. I can see improvements here. Right, so we're just going to see what's happening here now, because we're coming up to the roundabout. I want to see if this will bring me down to a stop. It's doing it very well. It's a bit heavy on the brakes to where I'd like, so it's kind of recognizing that a little bit later than I'd like to. So guys, out of 10, I would probably give it a 6, 6.5 to what I've seen. We didn't do the total emergency side of it because I don't even feel comfortable to do it, if I'm really honest. I've chickened out a bit. But even so, it seems to come on with the warning sign to put your hands on the wheel. And if you don't put your hands on the wheel, that just seems to cut off. So it probably comes on again, I'm imagining, if you continue. And then I suppose eventually at some point it's going to come to a stop. I'm assuming, I don't know. I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. Yeah, so to go over the basics of the cruise control, once you've set your speed, when you're coming up to a roundabout, as soon as you apply the brakes, the system cuts off. So you can do all your steering, all your turning, going around the roundabout. When you get to the other side and you go back out onto a straight road again, you just use this button here to go up and down with the speed once, and it will come on. It will activate the cruise control, yeah? So that's what you do. And that's basically how the basic function of that works. So I think on a motorway, what I might do is maybe tomorrow. What I might do tomorrow is take this out for a longer asserted run on the motorway, on the proper M5, which is the closest motorway to me. And what we'll do is we'll see just how it behaves on there, yeah, because obviously a motorway has designated lines all the way through, etc, etc, etc. So I want to see how it keeps me in the lane and all the rest of it there. That's what I'm looking for on that one. So that'll be kind of interesting. Now it's also got a low speed function on this, so even though I'm on low speed, it's keeping me at the desired speed. Once the car gets out of the radar position, this speeds up quite aggressively, so it still does that thing. So I'd still say ultimately this is very much a system just for the motorway. I wouldn't really recommend it in terms of being a very good system for what's the word? I wouldn't say it's a very good system for the dual carriageways or single file roads, which some level 2 systems are capable of doing that fairly effectively. This probably isn't one of them, I'm afraid. So that's it, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. As I say, I'll do a follow-up to this on the motorway. We've seen how it behaves on A roads, still a little bit tentative, still a little bit not quite keeping you in the lane as much as you'd like, etc. But I think it has improved a bit. I would say that. Definitely has improved a bit. It still seems to want to surge to get up to the speed. But of course, if you're on a motorway and you're doing 70, you're going to be going between 60 and 70 depending on oncoming traffic. By the way, this doesn't have a function of auto changing lanes, so you can't indicate and change auto lanes automatically, which a lot of cars do now. My Skoda does that as well. This one I still don't think has that facility. So it'll be interesting to see. So anyway, guys, I'll catch you on the next one, and thanks for tuning into this. And as I say, it'll be another update on the adaptive cruise control with motorway side of things.